Hi.
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 Welcome to Why Are We Like This? I'm Ashley, she, her, and today I have three very special guests with me. I have host of Always and Forever and editor of the Philadelphia Gay News.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, they, them.
And I have longtime listener,
Susan Whitaker, she, her.
and I have one of my very best friends and one of the hosts of Pass the Hot Sauce, a Roswell podcast, which is currently on hiatus.
Hi, I'm Aliza Aura, she, her.
And we are here to talk about episode 2, Olympians.
Woo!
Yay!
So I've been starting these episodes since I have different people on for every episode by just like, if anybody has any series overall thoughts they want to just like gush before we dive into this episode, feel free to do so now.
Well, I just would like to say that after trying so hard and truly coming on too strong, I finally got my mom to watch. And I can't tell you how much joy it brought me. I was a little nervous that like all the sex would, turn her off. But like we watched the finale together yesterday and with tears in her eyes, she was like, it's so good. It was so beautiful. So, yeah, I'm like still on a high from my mom also really enjoying the show.
I love it.
I've also been trying to get my mom to watch it, and she has been dragging her feet as well, so I'm glad you had some success with that.
It took a while. It took honestly me like backing off a little bit.
That's what I'll do. I'll back off a little bit and see if that'll work.
I've actually thought about my mom watching it, but now I'm kind of inspired because I think she would like it. I think it would be a little intense for her, but I think she could do it. So now I'm inspired. I got my wife to watch it. It's a little much for her, but it is so fun to be able to share it with, people you love. And everyone.
Watching it with people is just so much more fun.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I feel like this show was just like such a wonderful way to end the year.
Yes.
And it was so unexpected for me. I knew it was coming, but I hadn't read the books before and I didn't have like any expectations, but I just remember watching episodes 1 and 2 and just being so incredibly hooked. And then, it continued all the way through. It made December so amazing.
Yeah.
I will say, like you said, you had no expectations. And I feel like my maybe subconscious expectation a little bit because of queer media, especially media about gay men, like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like there's so much media about gay men that has like HIV and death and, things not working out. And while there are certainly painful moments, many of them in this show, like a happy ending isn't something we see a lot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it. And it like made me cry even more.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly feel good for the end of the year. And I knew nothing about this show, like, leading up to it. And then I started seeing all the memes. I started seeing, like, all the clips that were being shared online. And I didn't check in until, I think it was, like, episode 4 had aired by that point. And all I know is that it was, like, a horny gay show. And I'm like, all right, sure, I'll check it out. My boyfriend and I watched it together, maybe we did some things together during those first few episodes. But it's, as I've been telling everybody, the show started off as tears running down my thighs, and then it developed into tears running down my eyes.
Yeah.
And it became so, so beautiful. And then it eventually got to the point where, like, because honestly, I don't think I really fell in love with the show until episode 3. Mm-hmm. Maybe unpopular opinion. I'm not sure.
I agree. I was the same.
It's pretty common, I think.
Yeah. And I just loved it. I thought it was so romantic. And I'm like, I really love these characters. And then revisiting the earlier episodes, now that I've seen the whole thing, just makes these early episodes so, so special. I really love Ilya and Shane now. Whereas, like, before it was just like, okay, the horny hockey show, yay. But now I'm like, I love these characters so, so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the same. I was like, after episode 3 is when I was like, okay, I want to read the books because I need more Scott and Kip, and I know that they're book 1. And then when episode 4 was about to air, I was like, are we going to get an update on Scott and Kip? Because like I know we have to get back to Shane and Ilya, but like, are they going to be in this episode? Because I need to know.
Yeah, I remember I watched episode 5 like right at midnight when it aired, and I texted you immediately, Ashley. I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, the episode 2 that we're going to talk about is definitely leaves off in a place where you're like, is this going to turn out well? Yeah. Because it definitely goes down a different direction. But I started getting nervous, but then I started doing research and learned that this is going to be a happy ending. And so it got me really excited to see how it was all going to unfold.
Yeah. Luckily, I had friends that had read the book. And so they were telling me like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is going to be an epic love story.
Yeah.
I mean, Ashley can tell you, like, on my first watch, I was like, I hate this. Like, Ilya's mean to Shane. It's borderline abusive, and I don't like it. And she was like, offended. She was like, you have misunderstood. And I got defensive. And then I watched more. I was like, okay, I'm ready to admit that I was wrong.
Yeah, to be fair, and we're going to get into it, but there is a lot of subtext that is not in the episode that we don't know about Ilya. And so in episode 2, we're just seeing a lot of things that could be a little alarming.
Yeah.
But then we get the context later, and it makes going back have a completely different perspective.
Totally. Have you guys read the books?
Yes.
Are you guys touching
Susan
the book?
just held up the book.
I brought the book with me to the recording.
I love.
Have you read all of them, Susan?
So I've only read Heated Rivalry, but I love The Long Game. No, and The Long Game. I haven't read any of the other characters yet, but I absolutely adore The Long Game. But Heated Rivalry is great too.
I also want to say, in my opinion, the show is way better than the books.
I agree.
And
that's
rare. It's like a rare thing to
rare.
find. I love the books, don't get me wrong, but I think the show is just made so beautifully that it's an interesting thing to see.
Right. I think the interior insight you get into Shane and Ilya from the books is like a fascinating different perspective than what you get on the show. So it's like they complement each other well. And there are times that I wonder, like, what is book canon compared to show canon? Because there are some differences. But yeah, I think it's great to complement the show with the book. But I agree, I like the show more.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you totally. Like, it's, we see stuff, but we can't hear their internal monologue. And in the book, you can.
Right.
And so, there's this like added depth and context that I love.
Yeah, I read earlier today that apparently Sasha does not appear in the books.
Right.
Which I find that to be very interesting as somebody who hasn't read the books. Just like, I feel like that is more effective to see Sasha rather than hear Sasha being talked about for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Svetlana has a very different role in the show as opposed to the book, where it's a much more minimal role in the book.
Yeah, and it's not like they've been friends since childhood in the book either, like it is in the show.
Yeah. I love that change. A lot of the changes that the show made and scenes that they added that weren't in the books, I really love. But I love that change because, and we'll get into it when we talk about the episode, but like, I'm grateful for him having Svetlana in his life. He doesn't have much tenderness or care, and she is like a constant that he has.
Absolutely.
So should we get into it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, I love that we get previously ons.
I love it too. As somebody with such bad memory, I need this.
Yes.
Thank you. Like, I don't care if I'm binging it all back to back. Please give me the reminders.
So we start out with this texting montage. Also, in this song, what a good soundtrack this show has. Like, the score, but also the soundtrack. The songs that they've added in are also good. So we are in the summer of 2011, and Ilya is texting him, are you still mad about Vegas? And Shane's like, I'm not mad about anything. I feel like every time that Ilya says anything to him, his response is like, I'm I'm angry about this interaction. Like, he just comes with so much passion every time that they interact.
Right. It's like, even in his saying, I'm not mad, he says it angrily.
Yes, exactly.
I do want to make a comment about the song, because I like looked up mange tout, which I know some French, so I know it means like eat all, right? Mange means eat, tout is all. But also I looked it up. Mange tout is also the name of like sugar peas or like snow peas, which are, you know, legumes that you can eat the inside and the outside. You can eat all of it, which I'm sure has really nothing to do with this show, but I just found it interesting. But also, like, you know, the song tends to play in these scenes where they're like trying to keep it casual and just like, you know, texting or like whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, the song kind of like hints that there's a little more to it.
Yeah.
They want to eat all of each other.
Yeah.
Pun very much intended. And there's more that they're hiding.
Yeah. So then we get this shot in the fall of 2011 at the hockey game, and like Shane scores a goal and Ilya's like staring longingly after him, and he texts him after the game and he's like, what's a girl to do on a lonely night in Montreal? And Shane doesn't answer. I'm like, he's being very careful about responding to these messages. I feel like when episode 1 ended and they're in Vegas, he left like hurt because he had such a good night. He won Rookie of the Year and was planning on, you know, getting to sleep with his man, and that didn't go well. And so I think his feelings were like really, really hurt that night. And this is a way of him to like protect himself. I'll text you back and I'll flirt, but we're not meeting up.
Yeah. And this went on for like close to 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
You know, because the next interaction is winter of 2012, where Ilya texts Shane, you know, want to come while you're in Boston.
Yes.
And we get, I know, and Shane not getting it at first. And we start to realize, yeah, that Ilya keeps, you know, asking, and Shane isn't completely ghosting him, but it's, unless there's texts that we're not seeing, I think we're led to believe that Shane is kind of just like ignoring the question and they're just not meeting up. And that's a big difference from the book, where the first time Shane bottoms is much earlier. It's not this like multiple year pause on their hooking up.
Yeah.
Shane is really making him wait.
Yeah, he is. And I love that in Boston when he's like, do you want to come while you're in Boston? Shane doesn't want to reply. He puts his phone up, but then he like can't not be like, that doesn't make sense. Which is so funny.
I need to correct you.
Yeah.
Which is like maybe the autism in him being like, but this doesn't follow the rules that I know of, like the grammatical rules.
Right. Did you use Google Translate for that? Because it doesn't.
Right.
It's so good.
And I love Shane's expression, like, after he realized, like, what the text meant. And he just, and, like, Hudson Williams just gives a really wonderful nuance, like, portrayal here.
Yeah.
How he's just like, you know, he's like, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but also a little turned on.
Yeah.
But also, like, wow, this is so silly.
Yeah, he like squirms and like tries to hide his smile as he puts his phone away.
Yeah, they're both enjoying all of these texting exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So then we get spring of 2012, and Shane's watching the playoffs, and Lily texts, playoffs are fun. How come you're not here? And he says, fuck you, quote, Lily, unquote. And I'm like, this is not helping. If somebody goes through these messages, first of all, they're going to know it's a hockey player. Y'all talk about the games all the time. Second of all, you're putting their name in quotes, like...
Yeah. Also, like this, fuck you, Lily. I feel like it's like kind of the start of their, you know, there's a lot of like, fuck you, go fuck yourself, which really becomes a stand-in for, I like you.
Yeah.
And then later, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Shane calling Ilya an asshole.
Yeah.
At one point, I started keeping a tally, and it's like 10 times in 2 episodes. And then I started to really realize it really means I really like you.
Yeah. It's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've also seen people talking about, and I think this is so true, like the ways that they criticize each other, right? Shane calls Ilya an asshole. Ilya calls Shane boring.
Yeah.
Really, it's the things that they like about each other, right? The things that they like admire and wish they had more, right? Like Ilya is an asshole in that he's uninhibited and like free spirited, and Shane's boring in that he's predictable and he's stable. And these are things that they really admire in each other, but like can't admit it yet. So they use it as an insult.
Yeah. And when Ilya texts the like, promise I still want that asshole, and yes, is proper grammar, he's like swooning. He's full on swooning at this interaction. Like boy is down bad.
I also, if I can just put on a language hat for a second, because I am a language nerd. I do not speak Russian, but I like know certain phrases and read up on Russian. And something that I find interesting, you know, when seeing the way that people who aren't native English speakers speak English. So the reason he would say like is proper grammar instead of it's proper grammar. And hopefully you guys find this interesting. If not, hopefully a listener does.
I've been curious about this because like I have like wondered about this. So please
Wonderful. So excited to explain it. So there are some languages called null subject languages, right? So in Spanish, you would say hace lluvia, is raining. You don't need it. Right? You don't need a subject. In English, you need a subject always. The only exception is if you're giving a command, like sit down, right? Subject is implied as you. But in English, we can't say is raining. We have to say it's raining. It's heavy, right? It doesn't mean anything. What we need it as a stand-in for a subject. In Russian, you don't need a subject. Russian is called like a partial null subject. So it can be dropped at times. So that's why he would say is proper grammar, because he's used to a language where you don't need a subject. And when you're not used to a subject, adding it or that or a subject that isn't a thing, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's just a stand-in. So, you know, a lot of other languages are null subject languages. You don't need a subject. But in English, you do. And so it's hard to insert that subject when you're not used to having a subject there.
That is super interesting.
Didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense based on how Ilya speaks.
Right. Yeah. Another thing that's interesting about Russian is Russian doesn't have articles, right? It doesn't have definite or indefinite articles. A, and, the doesn't have it. So they might say, I'm going to store instead of I'm going to the store.
Oh, okay.
There are also things you hear Ilya say in the show where he doesn't put a subject or a article. Later on in the season, you start hearing more subjects and you start hearing more articles. So as his English improves, those little changes are showing that it's improving, or showing that he's, you know, the more nuanced things. These are things that like, it doesn't help with being understood, right? The point of communicating is to be understood. You don't need those to be understood, but you need it to sound more native, to sound more fluent. And as the season goes on, you hear those little things more, which I found interesting.
It's so well done.
That is so fascinating.
And I have one more language thing.
Cool.
So also, later on, I'm just going to get it all out now instead of later. Later on in the locker room, when JJ, the Quebecois player, says, like, if he fucks you tonight instead of fucks with you, right? That's called a phrasal verb. I taught English. I lived in Chile. I taught English. Phrasal verbs were one of the hardest things for my students to get. I taught like adults. So a phrasal verb is that we have a lot of them in English where a verb with a certain preposition, it changes the meaning of the verb. So take off, take on, take to, take away. Those are all with the verb take, but they mean completely different things depending on the preposition that you put with it. We have a lot of those. So that fuck with it's a phrasal verb. And so he didn't use the preposition because those are really fucking hard to know like which preposition to use and which meaning it gives it.
Yeah. Wow.
So those are my 3 language things that I wanted to bring up. Yeah. I love language. Always happy to talk about it.
Amazing.
Very cool.
So then we have one of the funniest scenes in the whole show. When they're in the hotel room, it's Shane and Hayden, and Lily texts 2886 Beacon, and he's like, what's that? And he's like, a place where you can get what you want. And he's like, what do I want? And you know that was so genuine from him. You know he was like, what does this even mean? And then he gets a dick pic, and he slams the phone down so hard. Hayden's fucking face makes me crack up every time, because he knows what he just got.
Well, and the way the music cuts off for a moment, because
Yes.
it's the montages song that's been going full force, and then as soon as we get that pick and Shane slams the phone down, the music stops, and of course Hayden can't see the phone. I mean, he doesn't know what's going on, but he's noticing Hayden is looking at his phone a lot, and then just got really embarrassed about something. But Shane tries to pull it off. He just gives him a look like, "Oh, it's like, nothing."
Picks it back up.
It's nothing, and then the music comes back on.
And this is one example of many of Shane just like not being subtle, not very chill.
Yeah,
right.
He can't be subtle to save his life.
And again, we're seeing that Ilya is reaching out. Ilya is letting his intentions be known. And as far as we know, Shane is still, he's not saying no. It seems like he's just not committing to anything yet. But I think that he is corresponding. I don't think that Ilya would literally keep texting if Shane didn't say anything back. So it's like Shane is saying enough back to keep Ilya wanting more. But he's just not quite ready yet.
Because Ilya is really good at consent, which we'll get into later. But like Shane is like stringing him along enough to keep him interested and to keep him pursuing him, but not actually giving him anything, which is honestly probably just making Ilya want him more.
Yeah. 2 years.
Yeah.
I will say, because I am too big on details, and for any Massachusetts listeners, I looked up 2886 Beacon. I grew up around Boston. That's about 2 minutes from the town that I grew up in. It's not Boston, it's Brookline, which, to be fair, South Brookline, Sobro, as we called it growing up, is a very wealthy area, not where 2886 Beacon is, but a few minutes from it. That, like, I think a lot of athletes live there. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady lived in that area when he was playing for the Patriots. But 2886 Beacon is not where a rich athlete would live. Just saying. But not far from it. Also, am I the only one who paused on the dick pic?
No, because first of all, I was like, that's not 9 inches.
Also, 9 inches is too many inches. I'm sorry. Like, no body shaming. Every body part is great, but like, you don't need to brag about 9 inches. That's too much. And also, whose dick was that? Was that an AI dick? Like, whose dick was that?
I heard it was the prosthetic, and also
good.
Rachel Reed has confirmed somewhere in a comment.
I saw.
Ilya lies. So
okay,
which I think surprises no one.
No. So we got to 2013 winter, and they're like both working out, and this is when we get I'm going to score 9 goals. Why 9? 1 for each inch of the dick that you want. And I was like, not Shane literally being on the TV while Ilya is texting this to him. So funny.
Ilya is looking up with inspiration and love.
Yes.
As he's working out. He sees his man there.
Gotta send him a text.
Yep.
And I love how when Shane gets that text, he puts his phone down and he starts working out way harder. Like to work off his horniness, to get blood flowing somewhere else in his body.
Yeah.
I love it.
He does. So we go to spring of 2013. Shane's in the locker room. Lily texts, if Boston wins this round, I get to fuck you next fall. Deal? And Shane waits until he gets home. He's like, I'm not dealing with this before the game. I'm going to wait until I go home. And he texts back and is like, and what do I get if Montreal wins? And Lily says, same thing, kissy face. And he like smiles and blushes. He might as well have like giggled.
Yeah. Shane is getting closer and closer to making this happen.
Yeah.
He's excited.
Mm-hmm. And then we get our title card.
In the locker room, when they're like, Shane, will you come talk to some media outlets? I love Hayden's transatlantic accent that he puts on.
Yeah.
Hayden generally pretty boring, but I love that he does that.
Yeah, that's in this next scene.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's still in the locker room, but I think a different day. Because this is when we get JJ being like, if Rosanov fucks you tonight, I'm going to fuck him back. And Shane's face is like, what? The way his eyes are like darting all around, like trying to comprehend what he means.
He's mortified.
And I feel like
he's like, how did you know?
Yeah. What do you mean? No, you can't fuck him. He's mine.
Exactly.
And I think Hayden sees the panic in his face and is like, I think you mean fuck with, buddy. He's like, I
fucking mean what I fucking mean.
Yes.
So good. And then the goalie doing his stretches being like, they're burning a fake Rosanov outside right now. And the other guy that's over there is like, they do that to you all the time in Boston. Do you want to see? And Shane's like, no. Like, I definitely do not need to see them burning me before I go out here and play this game.
Yeah, what does he say? He says, like, this doesn't make me feel good. I forgot the exact
It doesn't
line.
help me focus.
It doesn't help me focus, yeah.
Yeah. And Hayden's like, yeah, Mitty, go be weird somewhere else. I just love how Hayden is like such a supportive friend. He's like, whatever Shane wants or needs, Hayden is like there to be like. And there's like a book theory that Hayden is like low-key in love with Shane.
I was thinking that while watching this episode, actually. I'm like, are there some feelings there? So
I said in episode 1, I was like, I think he has a crush on him, because in the locker room when he like invites him to dinner, he's like staring at him changing, and then he's like, come over to my house. And he like is a little dressed up at the dinner, and I'm like, he's like gearing up for a threesome. He's like, will you please sleep with me and my wife?
So this hasn't been touched on yet, because like honestly, while watching this, I was thinking I wanted to look up Hayden, and because I thought maybe there was going to be a deeper plot later on, and then like Aliza, I'm like, I'm spoiler averse, so I don't want to know anything. So
yeah,
it's kind of nice that it hasn't been touched on yet. So okay, I'm gonna hope for this now. Thank you.
Yeah, I must say, I had never thought that.
Same.
I feel like I think maybe because, Shane is like the hot young rookie, that he's like the phenom, and maybe Hayden is kind of like a mid-level player, maybe that he just thinks Shane is like cool.
Yeah.
But
he's like enamored by him.
Yeah, you never know.
We could get some polyamory rap in a future book. I'd love to see that.
We'll see.
And Hayden is married to a woman, which has happened with gay men, especially living in this world where they have to be like so aggressively closeted that like it's entirely possible.
Yeah, they have so many kids, though. I have a feeling he does really like his wife. No,
he like really does. And in the books, I will say,
he loves his wife, but there can still be multiple things happening at the same time, Yeah.
And I will say, like in the books, like he speaks very highly of his wife.
Yeah.
He'll be like, Jackie rules. Jackie's the coolest. And I love that. He like really likes her as a person. She's like his best friend, which is cute. His other best friend.
Yeah. So then we get the what do we have to do to win tonight from Hayden, and they go through all of that.
Yeah, that transatlantic accent that I love so much.
Yeah. So good. And we get like, I love a feisty Shane with other people that aren't Ilya. And he's like, well, hockey is a complicated and nuanced game, but it would be helpful if we scored more fucking goals than the other team. So good.
Yeah.
We transition over through the fake interview that Hayden is doing. And how about that other team? And then we get an actual interviewer or announcer or whatever saying, Ilya Rosanov has been on a tear lately. He had a hat trick last week. He's almost caught up to you in the scoring race. Want to know what he said about it? And Shane is like, no, I'll listen if he actually catches up to me. Thanks. And I'm like, ooh, that's going to piss Ilya off.
Which is totally his goal.
Yeah.
I will say I had to look up what a hat trick was. But I also learned like the origin of it. I don't know if you wanted to.
Oh, no, go for it.
So what is a hat trick?
So a hat trick is when one player scores 3 times in a single game. So like in hockey or soccer. And it originates from cricket, where a bowler taking 3 wickets, whatever that means, with consecutive balls would receive a hat. Would receive an actual hat. And now it broadly means any series of 3 successes. So like if an actor wins 3 Oscars, people would call that a hat trick too. In hockey specifically, fans famously will throw hats onto the ice if a person scores 3 goals, which is a tradition rooted in early offers from hats. From early offers from hat makers for athletes. So, but it comes from cricket, where people would actually be awarded a hat to wear.
Oh, wow. Nice. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
So then we cut to the locker room. Ilya texts, "How many times can you come in 1 hour?" And Shane is like so discombobulated because they're about to play a game. And he's like, texts him. He's like, "We're about to play a game against each other." And then he erases it. And then he's like, "Are you trying to fuck with me before the game?" And he's like not subtle about this either. He's like looking left and right, like, "Nobody look at what I'm doing." Like, and he puts his phone up for like 3 seconds before he just like can't not answer the question. And he answers so honestly. He says, "I don't know, maybe twice."
And Ilya's like, "You suck at texting."
Yeah. This is another shot of Ilya like full on swooning. Like this is so endearing to him.
Well, Marlo is watching Ilya here.
Yes.
we see that Marlo has been noticing.
Yes.
And Susan, you mentioned this earlier with the one scene about how like when Shane receives the dick pic, the music just stops, and then it's like he's like kind of out of his internal world. It's the same that happens here with Ilya as well. There are so many moments like this where like Ilya and Shane are just so wrapped up in each other, and there's the sweet music playing in the background, and then like once they like snap out of it, quote unquote, like the music just stops. And I think that's just that's a really great way of showing how much they're enamored with each other and how much like, okay, gotta come back to reality now, unfortunately.
Yes. Right. And if you think about it from Shane's perspective, he has been anticipating this night because I think it's established now. This is the night where it's finally going to happen. They're going to hook up for the first time after 2 years and have this, long awaited night together. And it's supposed to happen after the game. So you just got to feel like Shane is probably really nervous. And to him, the idea of sexting before the game is just like very much outside of his worldview. Meanwhile, Ilya's having like so much fun.
Yeah.
In
Do
this
you feel
exchange.
like it was premeditated? Because I feel like he didn't decide until the end of this text exchange that he would meet up with Ilya.
I think the implication was that they had talked about getting together that night, because Ilya says in that text, "Where are we meeting?" And then Shane said, if you're lucky, I'll text you after the game. So to me, it seemed like they had talked about meeting up that night, but Shane hadn't given the address yet because they're in Montreal. And so we find out later that they do meet up, but Shane didn't like this.
I guess to me it felt like another of the same interactions we've been seeing with them, where Ilya was like, "All right, I'm here. Where are we meeting? Let's meet up." And this was finally Shane being like, his normal reaction of "we aren't," and then he was like, "Well, if you're lucky, I'll text you after the game." It's like finally a breaking point for him.
I mean, it could be. Who knows? I think for me, I see Shane as someone who would like want to have a plan for this, and it wouldn't he wouldn't be able to like do it spur of the moment. But yeah, it could be. Who knows?
I mean, I do feel like he's been thinking about it, but I don't think Ilya had any indication.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That this was the night it was finally going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, and I think his like, "we're not, fuck you," when he says where are we meeting? We're not. Was like he knew that wasn't true, but he has his like pregame rituals, right? He takes his craft very seriously in the books and in the show too. He's like very specific diet and like, he's like very serious about it. And for someone to try to like, in his mind, like whether intentional or not, get him off his game right before he's playing. I think he needed to try to convince himself, like, "Oh, we're not going to meet up. I'm not going to think about this." Because if he's looking forward to it, like, it's going to be on his mind and distracting him from playing. But then he realizes, it's like, "No, I really do want to do this."
Yeah. And then Ilya says, this is kind of to end the text exchange. Are you as hard as I am right now? And Shane is kind of like, oh my gosh, I cannot be doing this before the game. It's just so far from what he can do. But I have a suspicion. The answer was probably yes. And throughout the game.
Absolutely. I put my note under that was, and he quickly puts his phone away again, no doubt to do some deep breathing and thinking about very unsexy things.
Yes.
For sure.
Thinking about the ice.
Also, there's a quick moment when Ilya says you suck at sexting, where he reads that and he like kind of smirks and then he clenches his jaw. He's like, like, no, you are not going to get me. And then the text keeps going. And then finally he's like, okay, yeah, you got me. But then we see Marley being like, wow, this Montreal girl works you up, brother. And he's like, shut your idiot face, Marley. And he's like, you are straight up blushing. And he says, no, never in life have I blushed. Russians do not do this. Which is such a good line. And I'm like, but Marley's not wrong. Like, you can tell that he is so into whoever he's talking to.
Absolutely. That was an immediately iconic line, I feel like.
Yeah, so good. So then we just get like a quick shot of the game ending, and then we go to Ilya walking up to Shane's apartment, and this is where I wrote down the time. So they haven't hooked up since January of 2011, and now it is the fall of 2013. So it's been almost like 2.5 years since the last time that they hooked up.
That's crazy.
It is. Yeah. It really is.
A lot of
it's sad.
And subsexual tension.
I completely agree. It is sad. Yeah.
And so he texts him that he's here, and Shane opens the door, and he's like, you will murder me. Maybe. And then they just look at each other for a second. He's like, get in. I love when Shane is mad at Ilya for lingering too long or for making Shane linger too long. He is like angry black cat face, just like, it's so good.
I mean, he's an anxious guy. Like, he's anxious and Ilya is not.
Yeah.
And I think Ilya finds it adorable.
He does.
Yes, he does. Yeah. He loves, and in the books, you know that he like really likes angry Shane.
Yeah.
So, and as soon as they shut the door, he gets angry Shane. Shane like shoves him up against the wall, and he's like, what the fuck? Why did you think it was okay to text me before the game? And Ilya is just like, you were hard, weren't you? How long? The whole game?
I wrote in my notes, good for Shane for speaking up, but Ilya is so turned on by it.
Yeah, he is.
Right. If you look at Ilya's face when Shane pushes him against the wall, he looks kind of like horrified and surprised, like, oh my gosh. And you see him mouth the words, oh my God. But I think he really, he's really enjoying it, this response from Shane. And I think he finds it very funny.
Yes. And then we get this adorable exchange where he's like, you're an asshole. And Ilya's like, you missed me, didn't you? And he's like, I fucking didn't. And I still beat your ass. And he's like, oh, barely. And then they like start racing. Ilya's like, I'm going to beat him to the top of the stairs.
It's so
and it
cute.
is so cute. And it melts my heart every time. Like this stairwell, magic. Magic happens every time they're in it.
And it's so true to the books too, because like in the books it outlines like how competitive they are with each other, like even in sex, and how like they like love, trying to one up each other. And you see that with them like starting to go up the stairs and then getting faster and faster, and then they're full on racing like children with and, like pushing each other. These grins on their faces. It's so cute.
So cute.
It's so cute, and it's so very Heartstopper. I was like, this is them running up the stairs to have their first kiss.
That's so true.
Yeah, in episode 1, I was like, it's nothing like Heartstopper, except for all the ways that I'm about to tell you all that it is.
I had not thought of that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. And they're just like immediately back to banter. There's no awkwardness. They've been texting, but like not much. But it's been like over 2 years since they've been alone in person, and they are just right back to it.
A note about this apartment that I've like read and seen videos about, that this is a ground floor apartment, the one that they filmed in.
Oh.
I saw someone talking about like the camera work and the angle of the camera, like you would see the reflection of the camera in the window because of where the camera is and is filming, but they superimposed a skyline there. So they didn't have to worry about the reflection because they just got rid of what was on the window. But it's a ground floor apartment. It's not like
interesting
on a higher level. But in the books, Shane, I guess this apartment is higher up, so you would see a skyline.
Yeah, and this is a change from the book too, because in the books, like he does own this place, but he basically just bought it for them to fuck in. He doesn't live there full time, and he like rents the downstairs out to like a business. But in the show, this is like where he lives full time.
Wait, in the book, he bought it just for the two of them to fuck in?
For them to have like a private place they could go to that wasn't his house. Yeah.
In the books, Ilya does not go to Shane's house, doesn't go to Shane's actual home for a very long time.
Yeah.
And he like takes note of that.
That is dedication to just get some dick. Like,
also, that's wealth. That is on
wealth
being
as well.
Rich.
Yeah.
And speaks to his anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The back entrance. I don't know if we talked about that. You know, that's why Ilya was talking about "you will murder me" because he was coming in the back. It was kind of dark there.
Which is why later, when he tells him the code to the front door, Ilya's like, "Front door? That's brave." So they go in, and Ilya's like, "Wow, nice place." And Shane just takes off. He's like, "Thanks, I bought it a couple years ago, but then this year I bought another one right next door. I might eventually turn it into one place, but for now I'm renting it out." And Ilya's like, "Mr. Businessman, Mr. Landlord." I love the like gesture he does with his hands.
We're all doing a little Ilya dance.
Yeah. After Ilya's like, "Mr. Landlord," like making fun of him, he's like, "Well, you asked." And Ilya's like, "No, I didn't." And Shane's like, "Fuck." Like you can see it in his face. He's like, "Shit, he didn't." And then Ilya just goes for it and backs him up against the counter and starts kissing him. And he says like, "Where do you want me? In the kitchen? On the floor?" And Shane's like, "Fuck you."
Like, you're such an asshole.
Yeah. Takes him to his bedroom. And he's like, "Did your mom buy all these pillows?" And he's like, "No, I hired someone, a designer." And I'm like, this is a foreshadowing of Shane hiring people to help him like style himself and his home so that it's like perfect. He wants to be perfect. So Ilya like makes fun of the pillows and he's like, "You're an asshole." And he says, "I think maybe you like it." I also love Shane being like, "I can smell the cigarettes from here." And he's like, "Oh, I had one." I was like, this is so married couple of them.
It really is. Yeah.
It's funny him being like, "I had one," when he's like, they're not really in a relationship. He doesn't really owe Shane not smoking, but like they are kind of starting to be in a relationship, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So then they go back and forth like, "You shouldn't be smoking." And he's like, "And you shouldn't be talking." And then we get, usually this is like so cheesy and not my thing, but the way that they do it, I was like, this is adorable. Where he's like, "Come here. No, you come here. No, you come here." And the whole time they're like magnets coming towards each other, just like smiling and blushing, and they just like crash into each other into a kiss.
Yeah. And I think even a beat before Ilya first says, "Come here," there's a moment where they're quiet and they're looking at each other, and Ilya's face, I feel like I just noticed this look wash over him where he normally has this mask of, you know, being the tough guy, but he really softens for a moment and you can see he's just like soaking Shane in, and Shane is just standing across the room smiling at him.
Yeah. It's so cute.
And like their words and their actions here are different. You know, like their words are like pretending they don't really like each other. Like, "No, you come here. No, you come here." But at the same time, they are both actively moving toward each other with smiles on their faces.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it is that theme that we see throughout the whole show of like this push and pull of like pretending they don't like each other, but really they do.
Yeah. And then we go to Consent City. They're making out on the bed, and Ilya's like, "You still want?" And Shane's like all blushy. He's like, "I still want." And we see him like kind of line his dick up a little bit, and he's like, "Don't worry, it will fit." And Shane does this like blushy like I wasn't worried about it, but you know he was. He reaches over and gets the condoms out, and he's like, wow, you think this will be enough? Because he pulls out like a whole strip.
I love them showing condoms, though. Like, hell yeah, condoms and consent. Great. Also,
yes.
Where's the lube, though? Come on.
Yeah. I feel like we can let that slide, but I also noticed the lack of lube in the entire season. I feel like at least show the tube there, but small components.
It's fine. It's fine. It's there in the books.
It's obviously.
It is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's obviously in the show.
But as Jacob Tierney even said in an interview, like, do we really want to see them do shit like during every episode? No, not necessarily. Like, let's indulge with the fantasy a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally.
But we do get to see some prep.
We sure do.
I feel like we skip that in most sexual representation that we see. It's like they're making out and then they're just fucking. And this time we get to see some of the prep.
Yeah.
And Ilya checks in with him. Is it okay? And the fact that they're doing it missionary, they're starting out missionary, I feel like is so telling of like where their feelings are.
Yeah.
Because like if this was truly just a fuck, I feel like they'd be flipped over. But Ilya probably wanted to see his face, one, because he's down so fucking bad, and also, like, just, like, needs to be looking at Shane 24/7. But also, he very clearly is concerned about, like, not hurting Shane. And it's a lot easier to read someone when you can see their face. And so they don't flip over until later. So then we get a fade to black moment, and I was like, oh, that'll probably be it. But no, it comes back to full pounding.
A few times.
You can hear the slaps and everything.
And I notice, in every sort of coming back from fade to black, we see Ilya's asking, "Are you okay?" And I've noticed not one time does Shane actually. I feel like Shane is actually unable to articulate a verbal response. He nods, and then later he says, "Jesus Christ." I think he is just. He's so all right that he can't even articulate how all right he is.
Even if he's not giving a verbal response, Ilya saying like, "Are you okay?" is also giving Shane space, like making it clear to Shane, like, if you're not okay, you can say that, and that's okay.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I am absolutely loving the show and even the discussion that we're having right now is I feel like there's been a lot of social media discourse about sex scenes lately. There's been like some pearl clutching, some like purity culture happening where people are saying sex scenes have nothing to do with the plot. Like, we do not need a sex scene. But I feel like even this scene in particular, it is saying so much about Shane and Ilya's dynamic. It shows how they're relating to each other. It's showing Consent City. It's showing the two of them letting go of these expectations that society is expecting of them outside of, like, their little world with each other. It's beautiful.
I agree.
It really is.
Beautiful is a perfect word for it. Like the lighting here, the way it's filmed, the tenderness, while also being totally like hot. It's really beautiful. And I feel like I've seen like two other beautiful queer sex scenes that it kind of reminded me of. This one scene in Pose between two men, and then this beautiful sex scene, like sex montage maybe in Winona Earp between two women. And it, obviously we always need more representation of queer sex in media. It just to show that it is like filled with love, not here yet, but yes, let's be honest.
It's there. Yeah.
It is. They're not even
saying
aware
it or
yet,
acknowledging it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it did remind me of like these two other scenes that when I was watching those shows, like I was really taken aback by how beautiful it was. And this is right up there with those ones.
And it's another example, too, of like, we've been talking a lot about the music, and, the music is very slow, and it just shows the two of them connected, and it just shows moments where these two can slow down with each other.
Yes. And this song is so perfect. It's an original by Peter, who did the score.
Wow.
I remember everyone was
Trying to
asking
find it.
about this song afterwards,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "Where is this coming from?"
Where is
and
it?
then
I Googled forever
Yes.
and was like, I cannot find this song. And now with it, the score has been released, it's on there, and it's an original by him.
Oh.
Absolutely.
And the lyrics are just, "It's you" is what the name is called. And so it's like over and over again. It's like, "Where were you? Please don't go. What the hell are you? Please don't go. Stay right here." And it's just like, it's so perfect.
It's perfect.
And if it's not already clear, this is not music that plays during casual sex.
No,
It doesn't.
this is not casual sex.
And that's the point, like that's
Yeah.
the point is like, even the first time they're having penetrative sex, because let's be honest, like lots of sexual acts are sex, but this is like their first time having penetrative sex. It's their first time and it's not casual. Like they're already down bad, like you said.
It's so far
and
from
this
casual.
song like very clearly shows that.
Yeah. Also, and then when we get the like little post-sex cuddle where Ilya is like holding Shane and he's like rubbing his thighs and like kissing his torso, and he's still inside him because we see him pull out later to go take a shower. And I'm like, this is not casual. This is so intimate, and you're actively trying not to fall for this person, but this is not how you do it, sir. Second of all, it's also good to see such good aftercare, because you don't ever see good aftercare in the show either, or in media either. And so first we have consent, and also everyone's like, well, consent, you can't really show consent in shows because it's not sexy. It takes you out. And I'm like, not in this. This is an example of how consent can be so hot. And every step of the way, like I was like melting. I was like, every time he asked, I was like, oh my God, like, so I think that is just a bullshit excuse to not show consent.
I agree. And we see it with Scott and Kip too. I mean, like when they first move over to the bed, it's not even like spoken, but it is, he
There's
goes to pull down Kip's pants and like looks up at him to get a yes. There's like, we get consent with them too. And it's hot every time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In real life as well.
Yeah. I'm a little bit ashamed to admit. So like, well, first off, like I've never really read romance novels or erotica of any kinds, but my only frame of reference for erotic romance novels was the 50 Shades of Grey series, which I'm ashamed to admit. Okay. I've read the books before there were movies. I was like, like on top of like the casting announcements for everything. Yes. So I'm problematic. Okay, cool. but yeah, like seeing this kind of representation, like especially in contrast to the 50 Shades series, is really great to see.
Absolutely. And just to go back to the sort of last shot of their sex scene. So there's a point where Shane is enjoying himself and Ilya asks, "Are you?" And some people have said that they can hear Shane saying, "I'm coming," or he's indicating that he is, he's coming hands-free. I can't really hear that. I hear him just kind of grunt.
Yeah.
But then immediately after that,
Ilya's,
"Oh God, Hollander" line as he finishes up.
And then we get another fantastic Shane line of, "Now the bed's all dirty."
Ilya's like, "Shut up."
Right.
Yeah. And then he says, "I'm going to go shower now. Okay." And like making sure that he's okay to be alone for a little while. And in a parallel to the first time that they hook up, when Shane's left alone in the bed as Ilya leaves, and he like leans his head back against the thing and then is like, "Oh my God." And then in this one, he leans his head back and is like smiling and like glowing and like puts his hand like up on his forehead. It's so good.
Shane is thrilled right now.
Yeah. Best night of his life.
Absolutely.
Ilya comes back from the shower and says, "You killed me, Hollander. I am dead." And I was like, he did murder you, just not in the way that you were thinking in the beginning of the scene.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Also, just going back for a sec to Shane being like, the bed's all dirty. It's like, this is like Shane's anxiety. And Ilya, this is the first time we see Ilya like acknowledging and kind of calming Shane's anxiety. He didn't do it in the nicest way here, But, you know, as the show goes on and their love grows for each other, he gets good at it. And we see, you know, obviously in the sixth episode, like really sweet moments of him helping calm Shane's anxiety.
Absolutely. And Shane says, that was so fucking hot. And Ilya says, worth the wait. And I'm like, the 2-year wait? Mm-hmm. And Shane answers this question by like nuzzling his nose and kissing him on the mouth and then the forehead, which says, you're always worth the wait to me. And that is like overload. That's what pushes Ilya into overload. You can see it on his face. He's like, I gotta go. And then he says, I should go, and starts to get up. And Shane nods and he like lets him up, but you can see like in his eyes, he's like screaming, don't go. But he's like, yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, I think he's resigned to it, but I think that both of them are just overflowing with feelings right now. Yeah. Yeah.
And we cut back to the magical stairwell. And I guess he carried his shoes down here to put them on because he had them on when they went up the stairs. But I think that they're both just dragging it out because Shane also gets dressed and walks downstairs with him when he could have just like let him leave. But they're just like taking their time.
And Shane is just sitting there clutching Ilya's jacket with his hood up, looking like blissed out, watching his lover leave. And yeah, you can just see it on his face how much he enjoyed himself. And you know, his feelings are strong.
He's smitten.
Yes.
You can totally see it on his face.
And he brings up the Olympics and he's like, obviously we're not going to see each other. And Ilya's like, correct. And he's like, your family must be happy that they're in Russia. And he's like, And he's like, my parents are pretty happy for me. They're pissed they can't come. But my mom's threatening to wake up at 4 a.m. every day to watch the game. And Ilya is just like not looking at him. He's continuing to put on his shoes. And Shane's like, I bet your parents will be there, right? And still not looking at him, he's like, my father, yes, my brother, maybe, but who knows? And Shane like takes a beat, but then he's like, anyway, I'm psyched. I've been dreaming about it my whole life. And I'm like, Shane, my son, we have got to work on these social cues because he is clearly uncomfortable and avoidant and you are just not picking up on it.
And this is not the first time that he's not picked up on Ilya hinting sometimes very strongly that like things with his family aren't so good.
Yeah. And it's not the last either.
Right.
That will go over his head. So,
and I think that, you know, Ilya isn't saying directly, so, you know, Shane can't be a mind reader, but I think the way that Shane frames his questions, like, your family's going to be there, right? He's not asking with a lot of curiosity, really. I think he's just making kind of assumptions. And so I think that at this point, Ilya doesn't feel completely safe to open up with Shane in that way. And, you know, it's not really against Shane, but I think that Shane doesn't quite send the signal that, you know, he's really able to hear about different things. I think that he would be, but I think Ilya just thinks of Shane as like, he has his perfect family. He wouldn't understand me.
Right. Yeah. Ilya has so much family trauma too, that it's like, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to even open that door, you know, so it makes sense.
Yeah, he's not going to get into it, you know, in the stairwell while he's trying to say goodbye. But it's like a little note to Ilya, you know, that they're not quite on the same page there. And, you know, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see like how both Ilya and Shane like react to things differently based on their backgrounds, because Ilya is so confident and Shane is obviously full of anxiety. And yet Shane has like, I mean, you know, his parents are flawed, but they are very supportive of him and his hockey career at the same time. So it is very interesting to see him like be very, you know, doing pretty well for himself, being wealthy, having supportive parents, and yet he is still anxious. And then there's Ilya, who has like a pretty shitty family situation. Yeah, he is so confident, acts like nothing can bother him, and it's just very interesting to see these very different depictions of mental health.
Yeah. Also, you know, talking about the Olympics, and he's like, I've been dreaming of this. And Ilya's like, dreaming of what? Bronze medal? And so I was like, well, Shane's playing for Canada, who is like, known for hockey. But I looked it up, and Canada has won the most gold medals at 9. Soviet Union or Russia is right behind them with 8. So, it is actually possible that, Russia could win. But the show is accurate because in 2014 at the Sochi Olympics, Canada did win.
Nice. Nice. I didn't even bother looking that up.
I will always
think
look
about
things
it,
up.
so.
Don't worry about it. I got
love
you.
it. But yeah, he successfully redirects the conversation by inserting that banner of the bronze medal. And he's like, hey, do you remember when I made you come hands-free? And he's like, go fuck yourself, Reginald. And he says, such a good trick, as he like leans in. And Shane's like, your cab is most definitely here. And then they have the most tender, loving kiss that you can ever dream of. And they talked about how after they filmed this one that they discussed, like, was that too sweet? Should we change that? But they decided to leave it. And I'm like, yeah, it really conveys where they're at, because after Ilya walks out, Shane is left in that staircase, like floating and glowing.
Yeah.
And I think it makes what we'll get into later in the final scene where they do not kiss. I feel like it's like this big dichotomy of, they had this like very tender kiss after a very tender time together. And then it really does transform later. And I think that we getting to see them having that intimacy now really helps us, I think, with later when Ilya is acting very differently. It helps us have a greater perspective, like that Ilya is really going through something if he can go from that stairwell kiss to not even kissing at all.
Yes. I have some notes on that.
Yeah.
When we get there.
Definitely.
So then we go to Sochi for the Olympics, and through the podcaster that's voiceover, we learn Russia had an embarrassing loss already. I think it's 4 days into the Winter Games, and they have lost to Latvia. They're talking about how it must be so hard for Ilya as the captain. And we see that Shane is listening to this, and we get this text from Yuna bringing up the Reeboks again. Don't forget to wear them.
So funny.
But speaking of him being stressed about things, he's stressed for Ilya. He's really worried about how he might be doing, and he messages him. But his spiral gets interrupted by Scott and Carter Vaughn.
And I just want to go back to the text. So he texts Ilya, hey, you doing okay? And we see, obviously the Winter Olympics, it's in February. The last text in their thread is from their hookup when Ilya said here, when he, came to the back entrance of the apartment. So they have not, at this point, they're not texting at all, unless they're coordinating a hookup. So even after all of the emotions of that time together, it's now, I don't know, close to 6 months later, and they haven't been in touch at all until Shane says, hey, you doing okay? Reaching out after Russia's lost.
Which I'm imagining is kind of because of the emotions, the tenderness of that last hookup, that they're like, oh, hold on, I'm starting to get in too deep. I need to hold you, at arm's length. They're kind of trying to protect themselves in that way.
Yeah, but neither of them know that. We know that they're going through that in parallel. It's a little different, but they're both having a lot of feelings. But neither one of them, is saying it to the other, which is the whole point. They don't want to be having these feelings.
Exactly. Yeah, they're both fighting it so hard.
Too many feelings, it hurts.
Yeah. So we get this interaction with Scott and Vaughn, and they full on scare him by sneaking up. He's got his headphones in. And immediately they're bringing up Russia. Did you see the game? They lost to Latvia. And he's like, yeah, it was a shit show. And then Vaughn is like, well, what did Roz say about it? You guys are not subtle. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. And Shane's like, nothing to me, that's for sure. He's like, so bad at denying it. So bad.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I think he knows that Canada has this one in the bag this year. And Vaughn's like, no way, it's USA. We're coming for you. And we get another like dig from Shane that's really good. And he's like, you look great in silver. Don't even stress, which is so good. And then they're like eating ice cream. And this is a funny exchange that Scott and Shane have where Shane's like, do you have that smell in your room? And Scott's like, yes, I do. And he's like, is it black mold? Because that's what JJ thinks it is. And he's like, he's probably right. But the good news is we're not going to be here long enough.
I remember the Sochi Olympics, and I remember there being stuff like the water wasn't clean. Some of the buildings they were constructing were not finished. I forget which. There was like some broadcaster who had like pink eye. Like, I think there was stuff like that at Sochi.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
The series as like historical fiction in a way.
Yeah.
I really thought of it.
Yeah.
And so Vaughn's been looking at the schedule and he says, so tonight we can do the men's short form figure skating. And Shane perks up immediately and he's like, my buddy Joe's in that program. We train together. Would you guys be cool to do that? I'd love to show up for him. And Vaughn is like, hell yeah, man, I'll show up for any dude that is that brave. And Shane's like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, I'm assuming that your buddy might be gay. And I mean, it's fucking brave to show up in a place like this and be like, hey, here's me. Russia is not safe for folks like that. Fucking balls of steel. And I don't think Shane has ever contemplated this at all. Like, he has never once stopped to think like, oh, Ilya might not be safe in Russia to be himself. And now that it's been put in his head, I think he's going to turn that over for a while because he brings it up in Vegas, the word safe specifically.
Yeah.
And so I think that this is like just for him because he's kind of like in his own little world, you know, like he cares about hockey and his family and like that's pretty much it. So like for him to hear this and be pulled out of that is like a first for him, I think. Yeah. And it's because now he has those feelings and he is worried about him. And so now his brain is like working a little differently when he thinks about Ilya.
Yeah, you can really see the wheels turning in Shane's mind when Vaughn says that.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, oh, yeah, right. I mean, he must have known, like, I don't know how you couldn't, like, know anything, even the lead up to the Olympics. Like, that was a topic of conversation in media. But yeah, for whatever reason, he seems to just be putting the pieces together. Like, oh, okay, so Ilya has a lot more at stake than I do.
Yeah.
In this situationship.
Yeah.
And you know, you can see the wheels turning in Shane's head, like you said, and then on subsequent watches after you've seen episode 3, you can see the wheels turning in Scott's head as well.
Right.
And here's Carter Vaughn, like showing that he has so much respect for someone who can be themselves like this, sitting at a table with 2 gay men that he doesn't know are gay, talking about this. But he's talking about it in a context of like, wow, that's brave, like balls of steel, like I'll show up for anyone who can do that.
And he is like very enthusiastic at the ice skating. He's like cheering and yelling. He's like, your buddy fucking killed it.
And he
like,
says, wow.
What a good ally.
I'm an ally, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. No, I love Carter Vaughn. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, at the event, Shane is like not paying attention to his buddy. He just looks up and sees Ilya, and you could just see once he sees Ilya kind of by himself, he is just like, I gotta talk to him.
Yeah. You can tell he's been looking for him the entire time he's been in there trying to find him.
Yeah, because Ilya has not texted him back.
Right. Also, we get the Canada Fleece that has the Canada Fleece heard round the world.
Yeah, true.
There's like a petition to get it made like legit. Like people are freaking out over this fleece. It is cute. It's cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cut to Ilya on the next level before Shane comes up and he's watching and his phone goes off and it's his fucking brother and he's like, where the fuck are you? Dad is so mad at you. Okay, before we get into this scene and this interaction, let's put ourselves in Ilya's shoes, right? The last time they were together, too many feelings. Gotta create some distance. But also, you know that the only thing he wants after this loss and dealing with his family is to, like, just hold Shane. Like, he just wants to be with him. That's like his safe space where he can be himself. He can quiet all the noise of everything. And the last thing that he fucking needs is that temptation right here in this moment in Russia, where it's not safe, where his family is there.
Yeah, this is the point, though, in the episode where we're seeing Ilya start speaking in ways, that are quite harsh with Shane. He's not being friendly to Shane. And so as a viewer, that can be a little bit hard. My wife had a really hard time getting through this stuff with Ilya for the rest of the episode.
Me too.
But yeah. And we just know so much more from the book that helps put things in perspective. And then it comes out later, of course. But yeah, it's tough. It's painful right now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't really remember, like, what comes after this. I mean, besides, like, the main plot beats and whatnot, but, like, does Ilya ever apologize for how he acts toward Shane here?
No.
How do we feel about that?
Angry.
Same, yeah.
I'm just sad. I'm not mad about it. I'm just sad. He's just trying to protect himself.
Oh, yeah, I'm sad, too. Like, I'm feeling multiple things at once, but I do feel a little bit bad for Shane that there was never, like, never, like, an acknowledgement of the harm that was caused.
I think you're right, Jeremy, for bringing that up. I think a lot of us, like, love Ilya and understand his situation, and that helps us, like, feel so much compassion for him. But you're right. He should at some point, and I guess I kind of hope that maybe down the line, he's certainly not apologizing now, but maybe down the line, even if we didn't see it, they would have had a conversation about it, and hopefully he would have apologized.
Yeah.
And, I said angry, which I do mean, but I'm a big believer in, like, holding conflicting feelings all at once. And like, I feel compassion for Ilya. This moment and being in Russia is harder for Ilya than it is for Shane. Yes. And I say that knowing that this interaction is very hard for Shane. And, I have a lot of compassion for Ilya. And also, Shane doesn't really get what's going on, and it's just hurtful for him. And the most hurtful thing Shane does in these 6 episodes, in my opinion, is when he, in episode 4, like, leaves after they say each other's first name. He freaks out and leaves. He ends up apologizing for that twice, but Ilya doesn't apologize for this, which makes me mad. But also, they come from different worlds and have had different examples of relationships in their lives. So while I understand it and I do have compassion for it, I also am annoyed and I wish he apologized.
Yeah. Something you said, Aliza, like, triggered a thought in me, actually. Like, it makes me wonder, though, is Shane giving Ilya a lot of grace here because of that interaction with Vaughn and Scott in the ice cream shop? Because maybe he's realizing, like, okay, this is very tough for him. Like, losing a game, also being in your home country where it's difficult to be a queer person. So I just wonder if, like, maybe Shane has cut him a lot of grace, which that's very, very, very gracious of him. But I definitely think Ilya should apologize.
I hope he is. Ilya does deserve a lot of grace here. I hope he is.
I think that probably Shane understands that now in his head a little bit. I imagine his heart is hurting, though, hearing Ilya say that to him. So, but we don't know exactly how he feels.
And this is one time where he says, "No, I did not answer your boring text," where boring doesn't feel like a term of endearment. It fucking hurts.
Yeah. Like, as soon as he walks up, he's trying to get him to go away.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's just because he knows he's close to breaking. Like, he just wants to hold him and to be with him and to get comfort from him, but he can't. They cannot do that here. And so, it's really hard to watch. And I would think that if they reflected on this later, that he would apologize. But also by the time we get to, like, episode 4 and all of that is happening, like, so much time has gone by that they're probably, like, not even thinking about this interaction anymore.
Yeah.
And, like, we do get Ilya being like, "Are you still mad about Vegas, about the last time that he was mean to him?" But also, this one has more hurt in it. And I feel like Ilya is the type of person to just, like, shove that down and not think about it anymore. And so I feel like it would take Shane bringing it back up for him to apologize. He's not going to sit there and think about it and apologize on his own accord.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to revisit these emotions he was feeling in this situation.
And this holds more weight than Las Vegas because they have been really intimate and kind of like let themselves fall a little bit. And I wrote in my notes, like, he's breaking Shane's heart here. He's breaking his own heart too.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be vulnerable because that he needs to compartmentalize and he needs to shut down those feelings, because if he lets himself feel his feelings about everything that's going on, it would just be too much.
Yeah.
And Shane just doesn't get it. And, you know, I also attribute this to ASD, to his autism, where, you know, some of my autistic friends, like, I have really benefit from being like explicitly and directly explained things. And like, it has helped in my friendships with them for me to understand that. But, you know, he hasn't explained to Shane, like, why this is hard for him. So it's hard for Shane to understand it.
Yeah.
But he's not listening.
Right.
No, Ilya told him, like, please go away, go back to your seat, sit down. And he's not listening. So
it's honestly lucky that Ilya didn't lash out worse, because I wanted Shane to go, because when the first time he said, not here, go sit down, I wanted Shane to leave.
Yeah.
Ilya needed space.
Yeah.
So it could have been worse.
No, he was pretty clear about needing space. But Shane could tell, like, he doesn't really want space.
Yeah.
But that's what he's asking for. So honor it.
Yeah.
And this is something that, like, I think about a lot. And I work with autistic kids. I've been working with the autistic population for a long time. And I will say, like, I am not diagnosed with autism. It's important to listen to autistic voices. So I can't speak for the community. At the same time, not everyone with autism has a voice. So sometimes it is important to also try to speak up for those people. I will say, I do believe everyone could have a voice. And often it is because the people around them didn't know how to teach them to have a mode of communication. And that is what I do with little kids. It's a lot of, I'm not a speech language pathologist, but I work closely with them. And I do believe everyone could have a form of communication. You just have to find the right one for them, whether it's speaking or using an AAC device, an augmentative and adaptive communication, which could be like exchanging pictures or using a tablet or pressing buttons. But I think it's important to mention both that it's important to listen to autistic voices, and not everyone with autism has a voice. And it's important to include those people in the conversations. But, you know, this is a depiction of like what autism can look like for one person.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So then we go to Ilya and his father. But before we get into this scene, I just want to bring up, I saw a video talking about the storytelling that they do with Ilya's hair. And this is a big example of it. They were saying how you can see, like, the more that he's, like, emotionally restricting himself in a certain situation or environment, the, like, tamer and calmer and tighter his hair is. And here with his dad, he's got it, like, very slicked back and tame, versus, like, a couple of scenes ago when they were hooking up at Shane's, it was, like, a little more, like, curly and let loose, versus, like, at the cottage where it's, like, full curls, untamed, fluffy. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was so interesting.
Yeah, my mom also really loved Ilya's hair at the cottage. Like, after swimming, the way it dried just naturally, she was like, oh my God, his post swimming hair is so cute.
Yeah, and when he's like laying in Shane's lap at the fire and it's like full floof.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
I will say, as much of an asshole as his dad is, that man has beautiful eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
They're so blue.
So blue.
So speaking of hair, he starts off by just like immediately going in, like, you need a haircut. Right, and Ilya's like, yes, sir. And he says, the minister will meet you tonight despite everything. And Ilya says, it will be my honor. And he's like, you should be honored after yesterday. And this is where we start to see the memory issues coming in. He's like, you lose to, and Ilya's like, Latvia. And he's like, right, Latvia. And he says, and yet he drinks. And I'm like, you handed him a drink. You didn't want him to drink it? Like, come on.
This is Russia.
Yeah.
You're not going to have vodka. And also, for those who don't know, the way you say water in Russian is voda. Diminutives in Russian, so like if you know Spanish at all, the like ito at the end, like a way to say like a little this, a little that to make it cute. In Russian is to add a K. Vodka means a little water. It's like saying like agüita in Spanish.
Oh.
And that's how ubiquitous vodka is in Russia.
Nice.
I said I was done talking about language, but I'm never done talking about language.
Keep it going.
And he's like, how are you not ashamed? And he's like, I am ashamed. And he's like, well, clearly not enough. They teach you no discipline in the American League. Your play is sloppy. It's a real shame that you're squandering the promise that you showed when you were younger. And I'm proud of him for at least, like, he kind of sticks up for himself a little bit here. He says, I'm a better player now than I ever have been. And he says, our goalie is hurt. The team didn't click. But Dad's not having it. He's like, click? What is this American nonsense? What is clicking? You're the captain. You make them click. Always looking for someone else to blame since you were a boy. And at that point, he sees that his bow tie is like crooked. And he's like, who tied this for you? Your mother? And that stops Ilya in his tracks and really like makes it clear how bad the memory is getting. And he says, no, father, mom is dead. You remember? And Dad's like, I'm at your stepmother. And he asks, where is Paulina? And he can't answer that question either. And he says, in Moscow? And he says, of course. And so Ilya's like, we should go. And like, did anybody else watch this in the first like 2 days and none of this was translated?
No.
Wait,
Yeah, none of it was translated. The subtitles cut out for this and for the scene with Sasha. Like all the way through that, there was no. And so you're watching it going, what the fuck is happening?
I don't think I had that issue. I watched it the day it came out. Wow.
Weird.
Huh.
I would have pulled out Google Translate.
I just immediately went to the internet and it was all there, but
That's crazy. I did not know that. I watched it like later. I was a little late to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I was watching it, I'd be like, is this definitely an artistic choice of some sort? Like,
Yeah.
to not translate it with no subtitles and whatnot? That is wild.
I was like, I can tell his dad's being a dick.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. You can see, so Ilya is going from sort of being berated by his father, spoken down to, disrespected, not treated as like, you know, a human with agency. But then he is worried about him. He cares about his dad as he realizes his memory is really faltering. And so you can see Ilya's worry in spite of how he was insulted. And then it connects right to the next scene in the gala. We see a close-up shot of Ilya's face, and it really looks like he is just disassociating, and he's standing between his father and the minister. We find out is Svetlana's father, as they're talking about him, talking about the game, talking about him as though he's not even there, and mentally he's kind of not, but you could see how he just has to have this mask to get through his time with his dad and with this situation in Russia right now.
And they really have him like blocked against that railing too. Like they are blocking him in so close. Physically. They're like shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. So he feels like stuck.
Again, why I'm so grateful for Svetlana.
Yes. Yeah.
A breath of fresh air.
I love the minister being like, it always comes down to goaltending. And I'm like, says the goaltender.
Right?
We know that her dad's a famous goalie. So.
I hadn't thought about that. Yeah,
me neither. It's a good point. Also, pointing out, like, contrary to what his dad was saying in the last scene, that, like, it is a team sport. You do have to have a good goalie and good, like, I don't know the name of it, like a right wing, left wing, like... I don't know the right words, but it doesn't matter if you're like the best person. You do need the team to work together. Yeah.
But even here, his dad argues back. He's like, but there was no leadership. That's the problem. Leadership.
Sure.
And then he's like, maybe you have too much confidence. And then I think the minister's like, or maybe too much pressure. And I'm like, is he trying to help him out a little bit here? It seems like the minister's also a little soft on Ilya. Because he's bringing up, like, well, you have to have a good goaltender. Well, maybe there's too much pressure on him, like,
hint,
right before
yes.
Svetlana comes up. Yeah. Also, I was like, so I guess the way that his dad says, like, the minister will meet you tonight, even after everything, makes it sound like this is someone he's never met before.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly they have met, because he's like, she's always been leading him around ever since they were kids.
So I didn't take it that, I could be wrong, that Sergei is the minister. I thought they were just like at this gala. Maybe he already met the minister and now they're standing there talking to Svetlana's dad.
But Svetlana calls him Mr. Minister.
Oh, she does.
She says too much talking, probably, Mr. Minister.
I missed that then. Yeah, weird.
And he says, but you love talking about hockey, my angel. And so that's how you pick up that that's her dad.
And she really does.
And we are so grateful. She's like, I'm going to take Ilya to get a drink.
Yeah. She's like, clearly he needs another drink.
Yes.
So she saves him, and he's like, he thanks her. And she's like, I'm an angel. It'd be great if you'd remember that. Which is so cute. And she takes him down into a bathroom.
The bathroom. This bathroom is unreal.
Yeah. That bathtub. Yeah. Oh, I'd never leave it. I would never leave it.
Unless Sasha was there.
That's true.
Yeah.
This guy looks like trouble. The smirk and the like swaying he does when he's like, long time, Ilya. I'm like, oh, this guy's up to no good.
It's total demon swank behavior.
He also does like a mile-long line of coke. I'm like, that is a huge line of coke.
I know. We enter the bathroom like right at the perfect moment to see Sasha doing the line, and we're like, okay, Sasha's trouble. I think we could just tell. There's just, the vibes are not good. And I didn't know at first. Well, Svetlana points out, she gives some exposition, I think, like, she mentions that your father, for being a coach's son, you sure don't know much about hockey. And we're like, oh, right. Okay. Then we as viewers can understand this is the coach's son that Ilya has been with in the past back in Russia.
And again, I had no subtitles, so I was like, who is this man? And why is he grabbing him by the crotch and doing coke? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. And I just love Svetlana talking about how Ilya's father is just an asshole and he needs to just not listen, not worry about him anymore. Don't focus on the Olympics. Focus on getting Boston to win the cup this year because you have a real chance.
Yeah, I have in all caps, fuck yes, Svetlana.
She's brilliant.
She's such a good friend. And she shuts it down immediately because, like, they started out by, we hear Sasha being like, I don't think you played badly. And he's like, I would say yes, but I know you didn't watch any of it. And that's when we get the line from Svetlana being like, for someone whose father has been a hockey coach your whole life, you sure have done a good job of avoiding it. And he says, I pay attention sometimes when there's something worth paying attention to, and looks over at Ilya. This is when she says, ultimately, it doesn't matter for you. And he's like, how do you figure that? My father. And she cuts him off. She doesn't even let him say what he wants to say. Because she's like, your father's an asshole and he would have you punished either way. Which is true. And she says, you need to stop giving a fuck what he thinks. And fuck these stupid games when you have a real shot at the cup this year. And I'm like, I'm so glad he has her for so many reasons. But this is one of them. Yeah, she's amazing. And he's like, I do? Question mark?
And then she's like, let me break it down for you.
Yeah. She says that Hunter and the Admirals won't get past New Jersey, but New Jersey won't get past Hollander and Montreal. And she said, I think this year you can take Montreal. And he's like a little offended. He's like, this year? And she's like, yes, because Mitka's hurt, the goalie. And he's like, how do you know all of this? And Sasha says she's a sidekick. And she says, and with a hurt goalie, you can only go so far, as your team has proven. And he's like, touche. And she says, and that's the East. You can beat anyone in the West. Chicago isn't what they used to be, so it'll probably end up being San Francisco. And they're good, but they're too young. And that's how you end up winning the cup 1 year earlier than I bet my father you would. And my note just says, this is incredibly sexy that she knows all of this. I don't even like sports, but I'm turned on.
It's a great scene.
She's awesome.
And Ilya like claps for her. He's like, very good.
And then she's like, and I'm off. You boys also need to catch up. And I think that this is a clear indicator to me that she knows. I think she knows that Ilya is queer and that he has hooked up with Sasha. Books Svetlana had no idea at this point. But I think this is her saying, okay, I'm going to leave you two alone to do what you want to do.
Yeah. I think she definitely knows, because also later when they're like in the car in another episode and she's she's like low-key asking about Jane.
Oh, yeah.
And then when he like shuts it down, she's like, okay, well, Sasha says hello. And that's like if I wasn't clear what I'm trying to ask you, Sasha says hello.
Like a reminder that like, I know you've been with men. If Jane is a man, like, that's okay. You can tell me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then later, she makes it clear that like, I know Jane's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She knows exactly who Jane is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So she leaves, and Sasha like stares at him for a minute and then just like starts popping off. He's like, so how's Paris, Sasha? Oh, great. Thanks for asking. I fucking love it there. The clubs are insane. The girls are hot and the boys too. And you've seen French boys. And Ilya is just like looking at him like, and he says, oh my God, nothing. You don't do coke. You don't make jokes. You don't flirt back. You used to be fun, Ilya, remember? And I think it was you, Aliza, that pointed out to me that like the coke is probably a huge trigger for him, considering that his brother clearly has a coke problem based on the conversations that they've had in the previous episode where he's like, my bonus is gone. You snorted most of it. Like,
He's really turned off by that.
Yeah. So that's just like another layer to it. And the fact that there's only one man that he wants, and it's not Sasha.
Right. I was going to say, if he's going to risk hooking up with any man in Russia, it's not going to be Sasha.
It's not going to be him.
Mm-hmm.
So we get the rest of this interaction where Sasha's just coming on really strongly, and he like gets all up in Ilya's personal space, and Ilya's like, here, really? And Sasha's like, danger used to get you going if my memory serves. And he says, we're not kids anymore, Sasha. And I think that's really important. That's an important line, because the last time they were hooking up, they were teenagers, and the consequences are very different for adults.
And he understands them a little more now that he's older and more responsible.
Yeah. And Sasha grabs his crotch and says, yeah, we're sure not. And I'm like, ugh.
And bites his lip.
Yeah, this is when Ilya finally puts his hand on his chest and pushes him back and says, stop. And at least Sasha stops. He says, okay, let's go somewhere. And Ilya's like, no. And he's like, all right, fine. Well, he like walks away and is like, I'm going to go find a party. And when Ilya says, okay, he's like, you're not going to chase, like his face is like, seriously? You're not going to even try to come with me anywhere? And he says, nice to see you, Sasha. And he looks at his phone and he's looking at his text from Jane asking if he's okay. And my heart hurts. This is the torture is like starting. The torture is starting with these. They both have all these feelings that they are fully running from, and it's only going to build from here.
I mean, it's agony, really. This is so much time where these two think about each other all the time and have no one to talk to about it, and think that what they're feeling is wrong, and it has nowhere, their feelings have nowhere to go. It's really, really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we go to the spring of 2014. Shane is entering Hayden's house for a watch party for the Cup. He brings wine. His mom told him to bring wine, and Jackie kind of makes fun of him and lets him know that there's ginger ale in the fridge. They're forcing the goalie to shave his beard now that the playoffs are over. He doesn't want to, but they're making him. And we get some context from the announcers that it's game 6, and this is the final game. Rosanov has been on fire. He has scored 10 goals over the past 6 games, which is like a lot. And we cut to Ilya's pre-game speech, which is so good. It's such a good speech. He says, okay, listen the fuck up. Look, I don't give a fuck how many goals I've scored. I don't give a fuck how I played 2 nights ago. I don't need to think about that. That was yesterday. That was before. Now I need only one thing. I need to win. And he says, here, at home, tonight, as much fun as it would be to go to California and humiliate them there, I want to hear our fans. I want to hear them scream. I want to fuck San Francisco. I know you can do it. I've seen you fucking do it. I've seen every one of you do it. So leave it all out there tonight, because this is our fucking night. This is our fucking cup. Fucking fuck San Francisco! And Marley's like, oh, like that went straight to his veins. He's like hyped up. He goes like, great fucking speech. And Ilia's like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, correct. This was a great speech. This was good to like rally the troops.
That whole performance just really makes me appreciate that Connor's story is not actually Russian and that this is a performance. Because, like, I'm not a professional actor at all, but, like, that's got to be challenging to, like, not only do an accent, but also express, like, such strong emotions while putting on this performance. It is so powerful.
So good. Also, like, he doesn't even look like Connor's story anymore. It's like, this is Ilya. He's like a shapeshifter.
No, the intensity of this speech and to do it, like you said, like with the accent, that like, I need to then has been an earworm stuck in my head. Like I can see it with his veins fucking popping out of his neck. It's unbelievable. And I will say my cousin is like a Russian scholar. He speaks Russian fluently. And and he's a gay man. And when I started watching this show, like I messaged him. He's now on his second watch. But he was also like, his Russian's perfect. Like he was like so impressed. Because it sounded perfect to me, but like I don't speak Russian, so I don't know. I had to speak to my cousin who was like, no, it's pretty flawless. I think flawless is the word he used.
Nice. So then we cut back to Hayden's, and he's like, I can't believe this asshole's about to win the cup. And then they have this conversation of like, Shane hates him the most. And I'm like, man. And Shane is not paying attention at all. He is like locked in on Ilya and the game. He's like, what? He's like, you hate Rozanov. He's like, of course. And the goalie's like, but he's very good at hockey. And Shane says, the best, probably. And I put a line, he thinks Ilya's the best. And the whole team is like, no, you're the best. You're the fucking best.
It's sweet.
And JJ says, not that animal shit show cock-sucking Russian. I'm like, we got to throw in the, like, the language, the hockey,
homophobia,
hockey bro, homophobic language.
I would love to think, that he's like, oh, Ilya's probably the best. And I would love to think Ilya would be like, Shane's probably the best. But Ilya's ego is too big for that. He would never admit that.
So Boston wins. And the announcers are like, what a comeback story for Ilya Rozanov. And they were talking about how he's like done everything during these playoff games. What a good leader he is, which is like sticking it. I hope that his dad has fucking translation on so that he can hear them talking about what a good leader he is and how he led his team to this victory. And we see Ilya like holding up the cup and he yells in Russian, this is for you, mama, which makes me so upset. And like it's like slowly zooming in on Shane's face as he's like taking all of this in, and he's like the roller coaster of emotions that he's going through, because obviously he's like proud and excited for Ilya, but also he's hurting so much from their last interaction and the lack of communication since then. And he can't show any of this. He can't show either one of those emotions in this environment with these people. So he's just like silently crying and smiling and crying and smiling.
Yeah. And this truly is Hudson Williams' special talent of like his eyes welling up, but not letting a tear drop. So he's like hiding it. But if you look closely, you can also see like a little chin quiver. Like he did really well with this expression.
Yeah, I was going to mention the chin wobble. I mean, it's really heartbreaking. Just he thinks it could be over. He thinks he might be looking at his lover who is no longer wants to see him ever. He has no idea. He hasn't read the books. Like he doesn't know.
I love that.
Like he thinks that this could be over, and how sad and tragic that is,
And he doesn't know why.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know. He probably thinks he did something.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
It's not over. It's not great, but it's not over.
No. So we cut to, it's Las Vegas, summer, and it is the MHL Hockey Awards. And we get this shot of Shane like pacing back and forth alone backstage. And Ilya walks up and he says, wow, nice watch. They give you that for free or what? Because of his Rolex deal. And Shane's immediately just like, where the fuck were you? We're on in like 5 seconds. And Ilya's like, 25 seconds. And he's like, what were you even
So
doing?
obnoxious.
Yeah. What were you even doing? And you can hear the announcer say like, and next up presenting blah, blah, blah. And Ilya says, I was busy. And Shane says, oh yeah, with who? And you see Ilya like kind of smirk where he's like, oh, are you jealous? And he like walks out. And we see them at the podium. We get this like scripted joke of like, but the most important thing is the friends we make along the way. And then Ilya asks for a selfie and he's like, this could never happen again. And Shane's like, okay, fine, but hurry up. Ilya takes 4 photos and runs his hand all the way down Shane's spine. And Ilya's excited to have these photos in the books. He's like I'm going to get to Ilya's perspective here in a second of this scene from Rachel's website she put up. But like, he's very excited to have these photos. Okay, so Ilya's perspective of all of this Vegas interaction in this. I'm just going to read some of it. So this was in this excerpt. So before this interaction happens, Ilya is in the bathroom, full on freaking out about having to see Shane again. That's where he was. That's what he was doing. He was in the bathroom fucking freaking out. So it says, Ilya hadn't seen Hollander off the ice since the Olympics. He hadn't spoken to him since then, but he had thought about him every day. He'd thought about the way Hollander had found him in the stands at the Sweden versus Finland game in Sochi and asked if he was all right. He'd thought about how strong the urge had been for Ilya to wrap Hollander in his arms and just hold him, pull him against his chest so Ilya could bury his face in his short glossy hair and breathe him in. It had been so fucking scary, that urge. The way Ilya's heart had skipped when he'd spotted Hollander approaching him and the way he'd wanted to tell him everything. But then after he finds, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty long, but I'm going to read like excerpts from it. After he finds Shane backstage and Shane is like, where the fuck have you been? This is what that says. Every time Ilya encountered Hollander, whether on the ice or off, he hoped that maybe this would be the time that he wouldn't find him so fucking irresistible. He'd hoped that he wouldn't want to watch that irritation in Hollander's dark eyes shift to desire. He'd hoped that he wouldn't want to be thrown against the wall by the man and let him take his anger out on Ilya for a while. But this time, like every other time, those hopes were swiftly shattered. So they're both freaking out about having to see each other. And we don't really like get Ilya's perspective in the book or in the show. So I'm glad that she wrote this and like put it up for us so that we can get like a little bit of where his head is at. And I'm going to continue to read excerpts from that as we go through the rest of this episode, because I think there's a lot of, it's so easy to be confused about what they're feeling during this interaction in Vegas. And I think it helps to read some of these excerpts to see kind of where Ilya's head was at.
I forgot to read that stuff, so I'm very glad that you're bringing it here.
Yes, read it after, because there's a lot more than what I had written down.
There really is,
but
yeah.
Shane exits the stage and goes to the bathroom, checks and makes sure that it's empty. And then Ilya walks in and he does not lock that door.
He sure doesn't.
I was like, you should lock that probably, because this is it's not like a single stall bathroom. Like there are stalls in there that he clearly just checked were empty. And anybody can walk in at any moment. And you two are about to get very close to each other's faces.
Yeah.
So, Ilya comes in, he like leans against the wall. Shane is already like tearing up. And Ilya's like, well, and Shane is like, that's it. Like he pops off. What the fuck do you want, Rosanov? You haven't answered a text from me in like 6 months. You won't acknowledge that I exist unless there's a fucking camera pointed at us. And even then it's for some clown show. So yeah, what the fuck do you want from me? And in that excerpt, like in this moment, Ilya's like, oh, I missed him. Which I just think is so funny. He's like, oh, he's angry and I missed him. And he's like, I want you to suck my dick, obviously. And there's a moment in that, in his perspective where he has the thought of like, okay, I've got him here. Now I'm going to push my luck a little bit and see if I can get a rise out of him. He literally thinks I'm going to push my luck. And he's like barely holding himself back at this point. And so I think this is a little bit of like reverse psychology. Like if I can get him to break, then I won't be the one that broke. And so that's my read on it.
I'll be honest, like I kind of hate this scene. it's painful. It's hard. And like, look, if things were like okay between them, then this like kind of like being an asshole would be okay. But like, it's been months and months of Shane agonizing over their last interaction, over like, am I even going to get to be with him again? And then without even like there being any like tenderness or whatever, he's just like, I want you to suck my dick. That like, you know, you talked about the aftercare. Like this is not that. This is like
this is the opposite.
He's hurting, and Ilya goes right back into this like kind of like sub-dom thing that they do. And it's like hard to see. I will say like, and Susan, you looked surprised when I said I hate this scene, which like fair, because also there are parts
yeah, I mean, I hate the way Ilya is acting, the way he's saying that, exactly what you said. I love how it kind of transforms.
Sure, yeah.
In a few seconds.
Yeah, and there are parts of this scene that I do love. Yes. And like when he finally makes contact with Shane like melts into his hands. But it is like hard, you know, it's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch Ilya speaking that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he has the capacity to like, their baseline is fucking.
Yeah.
Like that is their safe space with each other. And so when he sees that Shane is like about to cry and he like laughs and says, well, that's just like that's his nervous response.
Yeah.
Like you see it later too in episode 5. He laughs when he's uncomfortable and like needs to get out of the emotions he's feeling. And so I think I've seen some reads of it being like he laughed, like he thinks it's funny that he's crying. And I'm like, he doesn't think it's funny. He's uncomfortable.
No.
And that's like just a natural response. As someone who also laughs when they're uncomfortable, I get it.
Same.
Yeah. Which is like, it is a common thing. And I think like especially on my first couple watches, because there have been many, many watches since then, you know, I was connecting more with Shane. And I think like the show is a little bit more from Shane's point of view, which I was planning on talking about later. So I will talk about it later. But the books, really, you get internal monologues from both of them. You get like really both of their points of view, but the show I feel like follows Shane a little more. And so I was like feeling it from Shane's point of view. Shane doesn't understand why Ilya is being the way he is. You know, on subsequent watches, like I do understand it better, and it's like a self-preservation, like protective thing that he's doing.
Yeah.
But from Shane's perspective, like he was so tender with him and now he's being mean, and it's hard to watch.
And he's been mean. The last time they interacted was also mean. So now he's just like confused.
It's been a long fucking time.
It has. Yeah. And he's like, oh, fuck you. You're unbelievable. You suck my dick. And this is when he like reaches, like Ilya walks over and like grabs his chin and like tilts it up. And he's like, maybe ask nicely. And Shane says, please. Like just instant resolve. And in the books, or in the excerpt, I guess, he's like, I think I pushed too far. Like, I don't know how he's going to react to this. And when he says, please, that like fries his brain. He's like, oh my God, is he going to beg me to do this now? He says, if you want me to get on my knees on this dirty bathroom floor and suck your dick, you'll have to ask nicer than that. And Shane says, please get on your knees on this filthy bathroom floor and suck my dick. Please. He says please twice. And Ilya like nuzzles his forehead. And at this point, they're like full on, like leaning on each other. And Ilya says no. And Shane is like, what? And he says, no, we will go back to our seats. We will watch the rest of this boring show. And then we will go to the boring after party. And then when you have been waiting all night, you will come back to my hotel room and I will maybe do more than just suck your dick. And that's a pretty long sentence for Ilya. And that's why Shane is like, when did your English get so good?
Yeah, I love seeing this transformation in Shane, because he's gone from feeling really hurt, but then when he hears Ilya say all that, it's like he gets heart eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, And he just is enraptured with what Ilya has to say. And it's like he gets totally distracted. Like he doesn't even respond to, okay, I'll come. Yeah. I'll come over tonight. He's just like, when did your English get so good? And he's just like staring at him with like reverence. It's so clear how much they both love each other.
Yeah, I said Shane Starry-Eyes Hollander has returned. He says, I read the New Yorker now, and he's like, really? And they like sparkle. Because he's got tears in his eyes too. They're like, it's like playing on the light. And the idea that Ilya might be reading the New Yorker is like so endearing to him, like in the same way that, I don't know, maybe twice was endearing to Ilya.
Yeah.
And he says, no, the New Yorker is boring.
And this, I noticed the use of the article here, right? He's commenting on how Ilya's English has gotten better. And he says, I read the New Yorker now. So it's like also showing that his English has gotten better.
Yeah.
That's so subtle, such a subtle detail, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
So good.
You can see Ilya is shifting as well, because he's been kind of like very serious, but when he sees Shane's hard eyes, I feel like he's softening up too. And they're having
they both start to melt.
Yeah, this sweet banter now.
And he says, my dad loves it. And he says, so being boring is genetic? And he says, wow, genetic.
Which
such a good line.
How can wow genetic be iconic? But it somehow, I feel like it is.
I have a bracelet on right now that says, wow, genetic. And it's just got a bunch of stars on it because I was like, it's got to be starry.
Yeah.
Like,
no way.
I haven't taken that off since I made it.
And it's not just that the line is good, it's the delivery. The delivery is what makes it so iconic.
That's what I was going to say. The way that Hudson delivers that line, it's just, and the combination with the expression on his face and the way he says it, it's just so sweet. And of course, Ilya, I mean, he was attempting to convince himself that he didn't want Shane, and now it's just like multiplying.
Yeah.
He's so charmed.
Yeah. And you can tell he's charmed by the way he looks back at him before he says the next line. The resolve is like all completely gone.
Gone, yeah.
And he says, then let's make a deal. If you win MVP tonight, I will blow you, fuck you, whatever you want. Which is taking it back again, like to the way that they love to compete against each other. This is just another safe space for them, is like, okay, let's make it a competition. And Shane is like, and if you win? And then Ilya just kisses the shit out of him. And I'm like,
Also, I see this as a callback to, I think it was like spring 2013 when he was like, if Boston wins, whatever. And then he says, and if Montreal wins, and he's like, same. That I feel like Ilya didn't have to respond. That kiss was the response. And because they had already had this scenario, like it means same. That it was like, it was a callback to the last time he said, well, if I win, then this. But if you win, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's like we know what's going to happen. And he kisses him here. And it's this sweet moment after some difficulty at the beginning of the conversation. And so you have this like a little bit of tenderness coming back out in Ilya. Yeah, but then things have shifted back after we find out he's won MVP.
So we get this very quick shot of the after party where we see that Ilya has won. He texts Shane, penthouse won. I said, okay, King. Got the penthouse. And then we go upstairs and Shane is entering the penthouse. Ilya is like standing over by the windows with his shirt unbuttoned, look like an entire fucking meal over there, sipping on some vodka. And he just like holds out his arms like, well, what do you have to say to me?
Oh my God.
Shane's like, congratulations. And he says, thank you. Now take off your clothes. Get straight to the point. And we get, Shane, you're such an asshole. But he walks over to the couch and he starts to undress and carefully lay his clothes out so that they don't wrinkle. And It's so cute. I love when he folds his clothes before they have sex. Some of my favorite Shane's moments
Ilya
are him just
also
like
loves
folding
it.
his clothes. Yeah, he does. He does.
But we don't see him loving it in this. His face is like
Here,
a little
yeah.
more impassive. He's not cracking up and smiling over it. The tone from Ilya is all kind of business right now.
And he keeps that through this entire interaction.
Yeah.
Which is... He's working overtime to keep his cool.
Yeah, exactly.
He's really suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got like such this like internal struggle. It's hard.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say, like, holy lighting, Batman. These like orbs all over this penthouse and like this like soft yellow lighting. It's incredibly lit.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's some beautiful shots. Shane's like nervous and Ilya's like, what? And he's like, it's a lot of windows. And I'm like, you're like 16 floors up. Like, you're fine. But Ilya like takes in that he's nervous about it and like kind of nods towards the bedroom. And then he like drags this chair across. And that's talked about a lot, like how hot it is that he drags the chair like that. And it was funny to hear them talk about it because it was such a like non-thing. He was just like, how do we get the chair from here to there, you know? And so it's funny that it like hit so hard for everybody when it was like not, nobody anticipated that being as hot as it is. And the way he holds that vodka glass, I was like, oh, I never wanted to be a vodka glass so bad in my life.
Yeah, it's hard because it's hard to watch the scene because it's visually so appealing. Everything about it, like everything we're hearing, everything we're looking at looks so good, but it's also so hard because what's happening is really heartbreaking, but it's also they're having a good time.
Yeah. So hot, but also like lack of emotion is really apparent.
Yeah.
And so he's like, get on the bed, and Shane does. And at this point in Ilya's perspective, he actually leaves the room because he doesn't have the vodka yet. He goes to get the vodka like as a way to like, he needs to fucking control himself because he cannot believe that Ilya is just like, that Shane is obeying every command that he throws at him. And so while he's getting the vodka, this is what's going through his head. He shouldn't have invited Hollander to his room tonight. They'd managed to avoid each other for months, and Ilya could have simply let that continue forever. Because that's what makes sense. Shane Hollander, sprawled out on Ilya's bed, offering himself as a fucking prize, did not make sense. The way Ilya was more tempted to gather Hollander in his arms and hold him all night than fuck him didn't make any sense. The way Ilya knew that if he kissed him, he'd never stop didn't make sense. He needed to be careful tonight. So there's a little insight as to why there was no kissing in this.
Yeah.
I'm mad that you read that because now I'm about to cry.
Sorry.
Like tears in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very
it's
different.
So hard.
Yeah, it's a very different experience. If you're only watching the show, you have no context. Than if you have all of this context. It helps you understand so much more.
So powerful.
So he gets his shit together and then he comes back in the book. So he's like, this is a good hotel. Really nice vodka. Hard to find in America. And Shane is just like, okay. And he's like, touch yourself. And he's like, what? And he's like, show off for me. I want to watch. And Shane is just like, his brain is completely fried. He's like, you what? He says, it's my special day, Hollander. I want to watch. The way he says that is the line delivery is so good.
So good.
And I love that every instruction he gives to Shane, he's like, take off your clothes. And Shane's like, you're such an asshole. And then does it. You know, he's like, touch yourself. What? And then does it. He's still going to follow
Shane's
all
a
the
bratty
directions.
bottom for sure.
Yeah.
He says, I've never. And he says, no shit. And Shane's like, fuck you. Give me some vodka at least. And he's like, no. The vodka is for after, as your reward. And he just slowly starts to touch himself. And Ilya is like very into it, getting into it, watching him. But he can't help but like not do a little dig. So he's like, do you want to know how it feels? Shane's like, what feels? And he's like, holding the cup. She's like, you fucking asshole. It's so good. I'm not going to read that bit, but he's saying, like, he's thinking about it and he's like, I wish there was more anger. I want to get him angrier for this. And so that's why he brings up the cup. So he's like, oh, I can barely describe it. Oh my God. And Shane like pulls his boxers off and chucks them over at him. And he starts to touch himself a little bit more intensely. And we get like the close up of Ilya watching him and him being like, fuck. Like that's a scene that I get a lot of people are talking about, is the way that he's like, fuck.
You did a really nice impression of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very
I've only seen it 5 million times.
Yeah.
And Shane is like, are you going to fuck me? And he's like, we will see. And he says, I need. And Ilya's like, what? And he's like, you know. And he's like, no, tell me. And he says, I need you. And that pushes him over. And it made me, this is like a weird connection that I made in my head, but like the way that in the last episode, it's so weird bringing up his brother in this context, but his brother being like, we can all live without you. Like, we don't need you anymore. Like, this is something that hits him on a deeper level than just the sexiness, because all he's ever wanted is to feel needed and important. And he's never gotten that from anyone since his mom died, I presume. And I mean, he has Svetlana, but it's a little different. And so, like, I don't know, this is like cutting deeper than just the sexiness of it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And like, yeah, right now it's physical need, but we see over time it becomes more of an emotional need and stuff. And I do think that Shane has those emotions right now, but he's not like fully speaking it in that context.
Yeah, I think after Shane says that, I need you, I think Ilya is about to combust.
He starts to lose his resolve.
Yeah.
Totally.
So he like takes off his shirt and walks over, and Shane doesn't even let him get to the bed before he's like flipping over. We get the iconic like back arch that everyone's talking about.
Back arch, hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, Shane, oral fixation Hollander, has to get down there so he can put something in his mouth.
And he can't even wait for Ilya to take his pants off. I mean, he just he's like
mouthing him over the jeans. Yeah.
He's nuzzling.
Yeah.
Yeah, nuzzling is a good.
Yeah.
So I wrote down the next thought that he has after Shane has met him at the end of the bed. It says, English left Ilya. Everything left Ilya except raging lust and something sharper and more painful that he needed to ignore. And then out loud, he says in Russian, why does it have to be you? Why are you so perfect? It's so fucking awful. And like in the book, we know that he's like murmuring in Russian, but we don't know. And Shane is like, maybe he's calling me a slut. I kind of feel like a slut. I don't know. Like, you know, that's like Shane's thought process, but he's actually being like, I feel so much for you. Why does it have to be you?
Heartbreaking.
And then we cut right to the sex this time, just like absolutely pounding.
And
it's short. We just see, you know, they fuck and then they're in bed.
Yeah.
Ilya's smoking and they're just sitting there, and Shane like I think he's trying to bring it up, like, why were you so mean the last time we saw each other? Because he's like, so Russia, that was something, like, it was intense. And Ilya like doesn't say anything, doesn't look at him, and Shane just kind of like waits a second. He's like, so are you heading back soon? And Ilya's like, back? And he's like, to Russia for the summer? And he says, oh, yes. And Shane like takes a sip of the vodka and he's like, why? And Ilya's like, what do you mean why? And he's like, do you have to? And Ilya says, there is no have to. It's home. And Shane says, yeah, but I don't know. Is it safe? And this is where I think he's been turning that over in his head.
Yeah.
And trying to open that conversation now with him of like, what is it like at home for you? Like, we've never talked about it. I have so many questions about your home life. And Ilya is like, what do you mean safe? And Shane kind of pivots. He says, I don't know. Do you even like it there? And Ilya says, what difference does it make? And Shane says, a pretty big one, I think. And I was like, oof, like this is in the same way that Shane had never thought about Ilya in the context of like being safe in Russia as a queer man. I don't think that Ilya has ever thought about the fact that if he doesn't like home, he can just not go back. Like he feels this obligation. He doesn't see it as an option to not go home.
Yeah, I think that Ilya there's no way that he would consider not going home with his father in the state that he's in. I think he's very committed to caretaking for his father when he can. And I think that Shane is really trying to connect with Ilya, but right now Ilya's walls are just really, really up. And we know that Ilya would love nothing more than just to like hold him. But for so many reasons, he is not going to allow that right now. So it's really hard to watch the disconnect between them. Shane wanting to connect, Ilya wishing he could connect deeply, but not allowing it to happen.
Yeah, and he shuts it down. He doesn't want to go down this road anymore. So he's like, I need to sleep. And Shane's like, oh yeah, me too. And he like starts to get up. And Shane goes to the living room alone, and Ilya stays sitting in bed. And in the Ilya POV, he says, like, I can't watch him go. Like, I cannot watch him leave. So I'm not going to. And he just stays in bed. And Shane gets dressed, and he's like, so I'm off. And he says, goodbye, Hollander. And Shane looks defeated, and he leaves. And Ilya looks despondent, and I jump off a cliff. It hurts so bad.
And then it just gets worse. Once he gets on the elevator.
This was so triggering to me. And this was like, around when I texted you, Ashley, with my albeit wrong opinion. But like, I stand by feeling the way that I did when I first saw it, right? Like I didn't have Ilya's thoughts. I didn't have an understanding of Ilya's feelings. And Shane also doesn't. All he knows is like, I was just naked and vulnerable and giving myself to this person who is now like ignoring me and letting me get dressed by myself and walk myself out. And that's got to feel so awful.
Yeah. And by the point that you texted me, like I was already way further into it and had all these emotions that I like couldn't see how bad it was really anymore. Like, And so I'm like, no, Aliza,
like, what the fuck, Aliza? You were so mad, and so was I.
Now that I've like reflected on it, I'm like, yes, okay, I totally see where you were at. But in that moment, I was like, you're wrong. So Shane gets in the elevator, and he goes to text Ilya, and the first one that he types out is "see you next season" with a smiley face. And of course, he can't send that one. He doesn't feel smiley right now, and that's just like not it. So then he types out, "we didn't even kiss," and then he erases it, and he says "fuck," and he like hits his head on the side of the door. And I'm like, Shane, my son, get in my pocket. I will keep you safe. The Heartstopper cast is in there. There's pizza. Don't worry. I'm going to get Ilya. He's going to be put in there too. But no fucking in my pocket. It's a wholesome space. So
there's pizza. There's probably some pickles in there as well.
Yes. Pickle pizza if you're into that.
Some vodka.
Yes, but there will be vodka.
Maybe not for the Heartstopper kids, though. Now I think about it.
No, they're just babies.
Never mind.
They can share ginger ale with Shane.
Yeah. And this is where I wrote in my notes about how the show does tend to be more from Shane's point of view, right? Like when they part ways, Shane leaves and we follow him more. We saw Ilya for a second, like dissociating with a cigarette in his mouth that he wasn't even lighting. But we follow Shane more and we see more of Shane's feelings. And like other times when Ilya leaves, we stay in the room with Shane. And that's, I think, what made me more sympathetic to Shane when I was first watching and misunderstanding Ilya.
That makes sense. All right. Are we ready for our end of episode superlatives, we'll say?
Yes.
All right, so we'll start with favorite quotes. Susan.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to give two really quick ones. I could have picked a million. Shane's "I need you." I know it's only 3 words, but I just I just loved it. And then on a lighter note, never in my life have I blushed. Russians do not do those. I mean, Connor's delivery is just incredible.
So good.
So I love.
So good.
Yeah, I love both of those.
Jeremy?
I want to give an honorable mention to I Need You, but the line that just like absolutely tickled me was Shane's little fake interview with the journalist. Well, hockey is a complicated, nuanced game, but it would be helpful if we scored more fucking goals than the other team. Because
So good.
Because also in my mind, I'm like, what else do athletes talk about in these interviews? Because I have no concept of it whatsoever. This is no shade to like athletes or anybody who loves sports, but I just have no frame of reference for it whatsoever.
Your journalist brain like kicked in.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Aliza?
So I also want to give an honorable mention. It's hard to pick just one.
It is hard. I also have two, so.
To Wow Genetic, because just the delivery, it's perfect. But I think my favorite is "Come Here, No You Come Here," and not just the quote, but like the way it's delivered, the blocking, how they're moving toward each other. I just love that moment.
Very good. So I gave it to Wow Genetic. Obviously, I'm wearing a bracelet. I literally have not taken it off since I made it. But my honorable mention was "Never in life have I blushed. Russians do not do this." It's so good. Okay, favorite musical moment or cue? I feel like we're probably all going to have the same one for this, maybe. No? Okay, Aliza, you go first.
I mean, maybe it's what you chose, but it's You by Peter.
Oh, say it now.
Yeah. Susan. Okay, what did you choose?
I absolutely love that one too, but I decided to go with Munch too. The opening montage. I mean, that song has been stuck in my head since it came out, as well as several other songs, but I just loved it throughout the montage. And now when I listen to that song, I literally like see the montage in my mind going on as they're texting each other.
Yeah, they're both great. Like, they're both so perfectly placed. But yeah, I gave it to It's You as well, because it's just so tender and beautiful and perfect and gives me all the feels. Okay, favorite scene, Jeremy?
It's that same scene that's playing during that little sex montage. Because, again, the first time watching it, again, it was just a show that me and my boyfriend were watching during foreplay. And then, like, watching it this time, I'm like, this is so romantic. Protect them at all costs. This is so great.
Yes. Susan?
Same scene. I would say from the moment that Ilya enters, actually, we'll start with from "You Will Murder Me" all the way, the entire scene upstairs for all the reasons we've talked about, through the stairwell, goodbye. All of that is my favorite scene.
Valid. Lisa?
My favorite scene also takes place at Shane's during that time, but I got a little more specific with the racing up the stairs and just them being like
cute,
giggly and cute. Like, usually things are really serious between them, but this was a moment where they were just kind of letting loose and being like funny and having fun together. It was so sweet.
And it's the only other time we see them like that until the cottage.
Yeah. Until I'm just a bellboy.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I chose also when we went to Consent City, but from "Come Here, No You Come Here, No You Come Here," all the way to the bottom of the stairs, because I also was left floating in that stairwell with Shane. So, okay, and then the chaotic portion of this is the scale, which luckily you all were familiar with, whereas like the other episodes, I have a lot of people who have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. So it's been, this one will be easier than the other. Okay, so let's do, Susan, you go first.
Well, I'm going -5 because leaving off with Shane banging his head against the side of the elevator, wishing that he and Ilya had kissed, was devastating to me. I thought it was a beautiful scene, but absolutely heartbreaking. And I was just consumed with this need to know what happened next and like dying for the next episode. And then I realized the next episode, we weren't going to find that out, because we were going to get Kip and Scott's story, which is great. They had their story. But that's when I decided, I'm like, okay, I have to read the book because I cannot bear this pain anymore. I need to know what happens next. And then I proceeded to read all of Heated Rivalry and most of The Long Game before before I could find out what happened next on the show.
Amazing. Aliza?
I said 6. And that is actually low, believe it or not, because every episode is over 5 because it's heated rivalry. But for the same reasons Susan just brought up, like, there's a lot of heartbreak in this episode, you know, like it ended on a horrible note. That scene in the upper level of the rink at the Olympics was really painful to watch. So because it's heated rivalry, it still gets over 5, but a low over 5.
Nice. Jeremy?
I kept going back and forth with my rating because I feel like the first time I watched this, I didn't really care too much about these characters. Like, it's very season 1 energy of Buffy, where like you just appreciate it with like a rewatch. So on the one end, as far as like, you know, the joy that it brought me during that first watch, it would probably be like a 1. But for this watch, and I feel like this is the rating I'm going to go with, I'm going to say like a 3 out of 5. And it doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the episode. It's still a great episode. But, you know, just taking the greater context of the whole show into consideration.
Yeah. So episode 1, I said I was at like a 3 because I still wasn't sure like where they were going to go. And so for this one, I'm going to say I'm a 5. Because even though I end the episode really fucking devastated, the beginning of the episode and like their first time has me like way higher, way off the scale. So for the sake of averages, I'm going to bring it back down to a 5 because of the sadness that pulled me back out of the ecstatic feelings I had during the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like, I loved the episode so much. I loved everything about it, even though it was incredibly painful. So my rating was really just about my own sadness of how it ended.
And the rating is not the scale rating is not rating, like, it's not grading the episode.
Right,
it's just purely your emotional journey through the episode. Where did you fall? So it has nothing to do with how good the episode is. All right. Well,
we did it.
Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
Why don't we go around and say where everybody can find everyone? Jeremy?
You can follow me on Instagram at RodriguezJeremy_. And pretty much that's the only social media platform I'm using at this point because everything sucks.
Yep. Susan?
You can find me also on Instagram at SEW, so _can_SEW. So it's mostly sewing, but I post some heated rivalry and Heartstopper stuff occasionally.
Aliza?
If you want to find my podcast, that is on a very long hiatus. We follow the old TV show Roswell, and that's at Roswell Hot Sauce. It's called Pass the Hot Sauce. It's on really anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Yeah. Holy crap, I should have plugged my podcast. You can follow my podcast, Always and Forever, a One Tree Hill podcast. We completed the first 4 seasons. We are also on a very long hiatus, but we hope to come back. There's no gay content in One Tree Hill, but it is a sports show that's also not a sports show. So if you want to get back to that, great.
I suppose that just about wraps us up for today, and we will be back in 2 weeks to talk episode 3, Hunter. If you want to follow us online, we are at Why Are We Cast on all platforms, and if you like this, please consider rating and reviewing us as it helps other people find us. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Bye.